because that's going to be the most important certification you're going to need to get started in the lineman trade. Yes, you can pick what part of the US you want to be in. I tell people if you're able to, and traveling is not an issue with you, and you really want to get into the trade, if you're just wanting to stay in one location, man, I worked with some cutthroat people, and yes, it can be a cutthroat kind of job and career. Welcome to episode 7 of CTQ. CTQ is a segment I do on this channel where I take your guys' questions and I answer them here for everyone to learn. Now, Blue Collar EDU is an educational platform here to expose, teach, educate you about blue collar career opportunities and things that'll help you get started in a skilled trade. There's many trades out there. There's a lot of confusion. If you don't have a parent or a brother or a sibling or a cousin or don't know anyone that works in a skilled trade that you're trying to pursue or you want to get into, or even just general knowledge of getting started in a blue collar trade, there's a lot of information out there, whether that's on YouTube or on Google or wherever. But sometimes you want to ask a professional or somebody the specifics on how to get started in a trade. Like what steps do you take? So that's kind of what this segment is for, to help you guys with questions. And then that way also whoever watches or listens to this, they also can get the same information, education. Maybe they have the same question. If you want to email any of your questions, or you can DM them to me, but preferably email to austin@bluecollaredu.com, or go ahead and DM them to me on Instagram at bluecollaredu, or put them in the YouTube comments down below, or TikTok, Snapchat, things like that. All the usernames are Blue Collar EDU. So find me anywhere on those social platforms and I'll take your questions and I put them in my portfolio of questions. And then I'll try to do one of these segments a week to try to help you guys and your questions. With that being said, let's hop into question number 1. Now, this question comes from a lady named Jess, and really awesome that a female emailed me about getting started in the lineman trade. Now, her question reads, "Hi Austin, I stumbled across your YouTube channel recently and have been diving into a lot of research around the thoughts of pursuing alignment as a career. I'm a 31-year-old woman, very fit. I climb coconut trees for fun without a harness sometimes, and do work like Mexican tile restoration as well as work in the service industry. My background is also in farming, gardening. I live in Florida and Googled schools near me and wanted to hear your opinion on Northwest Lineman College versus Southeast Lineman Training Center. I appreciate how informative your videos are about the process of becoming a lineman after apprenticing. I have a couple questions. When you apply for apprenticeship after schooling, can you kind of pick what part of the US you want to be in, or is it a needle in a haystack and you get what you get and should just be happy with it? For example, I don't think I'd want to be a lineman on the West Coast. Would that be a problem? Do you feel like it's a cutthroat job career? I get many opinions from my close friends, most of which say you can absolutely handle it 110%, knowing me. And some men have said things like, you won't have a life anymore, and be prepared to work with some intense people. Mind you, my background, I grew up with a military dad and work in industry already with men, so that doesn't intimidate me at all. I prefer to work with men over women, to be honest. Anyways, I know this is a little bit of a long email, but I'm in the research stage of scouting out to see what is the best fit for me moving forward and thinking about the changes I would like to make by next summer. Thank you for your time." Well, Jess, that's a lot to unpack right there. To be honest, we'll just start off with Northwest Lineman College versus Southeast Lineman Trainer. Also, I kind of want to hit on the fact that you said, I climb coconut trees for fun without a harness sometimes. It's funny because I grew up in the country in Washington State where there's lots of trees, not coconut trees, but big fir trees or cedar trees or maple trees. And that's what I did for fun growing up as well. In my younger ages, looking back, I couldn't imagine how stressful my parents were seeing a little 10-year-old boy climbing up this 200-foot cedar tree by the house. But that's what I did for fun. No harness, no nothing. People would probably look at me like, what the heck, are you crazy? Nowadays, because, there's a lot more softness in this world. Anyway, that's what I did for fun, so that's a great experience. And that's how I kind of knew I would love climbing poles because I climbed trees as a kid. Just scaled right up the tree, no problem. I loved doing that. Anyways, so if you're in Florida, you're kind of wanting to know my opinion on what lineman college you go to. If you're set on going to lineman college, which I'm not against them and I'm also not 100% for them, but at your age and you're in your research kind of era of deciding if the lineman trade is for you, a lineman college is going to be a great place for you to go just because it's going to give you a good experience and it's going to expose you to what the lineman trade has to offer. Now, it's a school, you're paying money to go there, and the instructors know that. So you're not going to get the same work environment you would get in the actual real lineman world. Might try to act hard and be like this or that, like, oh, this is how it is in lineman trade, but it's really not. It's way different. It's completely different in the real world versus in a controlled environment like a lineman school. As you know, you're 31. You've had 10, 11, 12 years of adult life, so you know how the real world probably is, which is only going to help in your benefit. As far as what school to go to, if you're set on wanting to go to a school, either one of the schools, I don't know which one is better or which one you should attend. If you're in Florida, which one's closer? The things I would look for in going to a school is going to be things like what certificates or certifications are you going to get by going to that school. So the most important one is going to be your Class C CDL with no auto restrictions and any endorsements you can get with that Class C CDL, because that's going to be the most important certification you're going to need to get started in the lineman trade. Most companies, if you want to apply a utility or if you want to go on the outside contractors sides of things, they're going to be looking for that Class C CDL. That's going to be like the top of the list type of thing. Now, utilities, sometimes they don't require it for you to apply or even get hired. Those have to give you like a 6-month period of time where you have to get it. But anyways, I still tell people that's the first step you should take, is to make sure you have that Class A CDL, no auto restrictions. Now also, are they giving you or getting you like a CPR first aid certification or a flagging certification? Or are they doing crane, which crane is pretty intense. I don't think they would do that, but some places they might. Like I said, I don't really know all the certifications. Each year, these lineman colleges, they get bigger and they get more expensive and they start getting you more and more certificates. However, the whole point of an apprenticeship is to learn these things that you're paying money to do or get inside of a lineman college. So that's why I don't fully agree or love the fact of these lineman colleges. But like I was saying, if you want to go between Northwest Lineman College or Southeast Lineman Training Center, just do the research on which one gets you the more certifications and which one's closer, which one works better for you in the position you're at. Like, I don't know if you're single or if you have a family or if you have kids, or I don't know your position in life. And frankly, that it does matter, but it doesn't really matter at the same time. Because if this is something that you really want to do that research. Which one's cheaper? Which one gets you the best certifications? I guess those would be the two main points I would think about if I was trying to decide between the two different schools. So for the colleges, research on those things. Now, as far as can you pick what part of the U.S. you want to be in, or is it a needle in a haystack and you get what you get and you should just be happy with it? For example, I don't think I'd want to be a lineman on the West Coast. Would that be a problem? No, that wouldn't be a problem. So if you're from Florida, you want to stay on the east side of the United States, that's not a problem. There's opportunity to become a lineman all over the country. You don't have to go to the west. You don't even have to go to the west side of the Mississippi if you don't want to. You can stay on the east side. You can stay in Florida or Georgia or the East Coast completely. Like, I don't know, like I said, if you're married, if you have a family, if you're able to travel, if it's easy for you, you don't have to go to the West Coast at all. You can stay over there in the Southeast or in the East Coast or the Midwest if you want to. You can pick. So there's this map that I always throw up, and this map shows all the different lineman apprenticeships on the outside that you can apply at. So you're going to have the Northwest, the Swolecat, the Owlbat, the Mountain States, these different apprenticeships. And you can literally just look up these acronyms on Google, and these are the states that they cover. So find the states that you're kind of wanting to stay in, or you wouldn't mind living in or moving around to, and just search up the acronym in Google, and it's going to bring you directly to the website where you need to go to learn more about that apprenticeship. And not to mention, like I kind of mentioned earlier, you can always apply with the utility near you. If you want to stay in Florida locally, you can always look at those utilities, the ones you pay your power bill to, and go that route as well. Yes, you can pick what part of the US you want to be in. I tell people, if you're able to, and traveling is not an issue with you, and you really want to get into the trade, if you're just wanting to stay in one location, it's going to be a lot more competitive, or it might not be, but it could take you a lot longer to get into an area if you just want to stay in Florida. But if you're willing to travel and you want to just get into the trade anywhere you can, I always tell people, well, go around, sign union books everywhere you can, or apply any apprenticeship like I showed on the map, and just apply, interview, go through the application process, and then whatever one you get. And then you just do your 3-4 years of time, your 7,000 hour apprenticeship, and then you become a journeyman lineman. And then now you really can go anywhere in the US, and you not have to be specifically just work where you're set as an apprentice. Do you feel like it's a cutthroat kind of job or career? It can be, 100%. Now, I kind of see it changing right now. It's a cultural thing. There's generations that are getting into it. I got into it in 2017 is when I got into the Lineman apprenticeship. And yes, I right off the bat worked with some cutthroat people. These were older linemen who have been in the trade since 80s and 90s and early 2000s, before this soft generation started coming into the mid and later 2000s where we're at now. Man, I worked with some cutthroat people. And yes, it can be a cutthroat kind of job and career. And it's because of the guys, the linemen you work with, and because the kind of work we do. It's intense work. It can be very intense work. Not all the time, but because there's so many different avenues inside the lineman trade, like your transmission, your big jobs that are in the middle of nowhere, and there's big rigging and big heavy pieces of equipment and long hours and 6-7 days a week. Man, these guys are living off a few hours of sleep and a lot of alcohol and nicotine, and maybe a few other substances, but I won't say anything like that. So I mean, you're gonna work with some guys who are rough around the edges, and that's not just the lineman trade. That's a lot of trades: iron workers and welders and oil field roughnecks. These guys, it's all the same. They're working long hours, they're working long shifts. They don't take care of their bodies, or maybe some of them do, but you'll work with a lot of rough individuals. And yes, do I feel like it's cutthroat? I think it is, and I think you have to be prepared for that if you want to get to a trade like the lineman trade. It can be very intense. I had times in my apprenticeship where I hate my life. I want to just drop out right now. I want to quit, because I was working with guys who made me feel miserable, every single day I went to work. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when I completed my apprenticeship, became a journeyman, I just kind of thought, that's not the kind of person I want to be. Now, when at work, there's a lot of hazing, there's a lot of joking around, and you have to be prepared for that kind of stuff, whether you're male or a female. You being a female, and you said you've already worked in trades or worked around men, and you prefer to work around men versus females, you might be cut out for it. And there's not that many females that work in the trade. I've known only a few of them. I had 2 females in my apprenticeship class, and I will say they did struggle, but that's also because they struggled with the physical aspect of the job. They were shorter women, the men versus woman aspect. Men are generally bigger, stronger. That's just how we are. And these females, they were shorter, they were thinner, they were not as strong as men. And that's just plain reality of it. But they were still able to get through the apprenticeship, become journeyman. And that's all that really matters. If you can handle the things mentally and physically aspects of the trade, then you can do it. So and you grew up with a military dad and you work in an industry already with men, and so it doesn't intimidate you. So I think you'd be fine. Honestly, you're 31. Like I said, you've had many years as an adult so far, and growing up with a military dad and working around men already, I don't think it'll be an issue for you. So if you think you can handle the mental and physical parts of the lineman trade, the intensity, the cutthroat stuff, the physical demands, I think 100% you can do it. I say keep doing your research, but my honest opinion is if you want to go to the school to start getting more educated and just have some kind of real experience about what the lineman trade has to offer, go ahead and enroll, do your research on those colleges, and then just take the next steps forward to really applying for apprenticeships and then going through the application process. And then if it's something you really want to do, which I think it'd be a great option for you, then you just apply, interview, go through the process, and eventually get into an apprenticeship and then become a journeyman linewoman. And I think this career is a great career choice for you. So hopefully this email or this answer will help you help you with your research process and maybe help you make a decision on what you should do. All right, this question coming from a guy named Brian. He says, "Hello, Austin. I'm 17 years old. I live in Texas right now. However, I'm not sure when I graduate high school next year what I want to do as far as becoming in the skilled trades. I was looking into something like HVAC or plumbing or electrical, but however, I'm not sure which one to go for. I want to stay local to home and make good money. What do you think would be the best option for me?" Brian, so you got 3 careers, really 3 trades that are like huge markets. So you have electrician, plumber, or HVAC. Now, personally, I don't know which one I would pick because each one of them kind of has their own techniques and their own traits, I should say. But HVAC is a great one. I mean, because in HVAC, you're going to learn plumbing, soldering of sorts. You are going to be messing with electricity or electrical equipment of sorts. And then also working with HVAC and ventilation system is a great trade to be in. And whether you're doing residential or commercial, there's a lot of different pathways and trades, skills you can learn inside the HVAC career. And now as far as like getting started, you can look into going to like a trade school of sorts, but I would even skip all that. Honestly, I would try to figure out which one you want to do. And even so, you're still young enough to where even if you were to try electrician or a plumber or HVAC, you can try each one of those. But if it's not for you, you can always, quit and try something else. Or there's a lot of companies out there that might do all 3 of those. There's big companies out there that do plumbing, electrical, and HVAC. So maybe you get on with a company, find a company near you where you live. And if they do all 3 of those things, I honestly would reach out to that company. I would physically go to that company or email them or call them. But for me personally, I would personally go to that company and I would say, "Hey, I'm Brian, I'm 17, I'm graduating high school, and it's still summertime. Maybe you can get a little summer gig or after school gig or something like that to start getting experience if you want to." I mean, that's what I did in high school was I worked at a mechanic shop after high school, like after the end of the day, I would go work at a mechanic shop Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday and Sunday. But anyway, I would go to the company and I would just ask them like, "Hey man, this is I either want to do electrician or HVAC or plumbing, and I'm not sure which one is the right fit for me," but ask them if there's a place for you to get started just as a low level, whether that's cleaning the shop floors or like going out with a service tech in plumbing or electrician or HVAC and seeing kind of what a day in the life, what they do in a day in life, the kind of work that they do. And then that way it could help you get a better idea of what you want to do. Because like I said, they're all different trades and they all have different skills, but at the end of the day too, they're all kind of have the same skills. And HVAC, I feel like, is the most versatile because you're going to be learning not specifically plumbing, but you will be learning routing pipe, and then you will be messing with electrical equipment like electricity of sorts, and then also running, the ventilation system throughout building. Now, I feel like that's going to be like a really great traits to have. So that's what I would tell you to do, is to find a company and like, whether maybe they just do electrical and plumbing. There's a lot of them out there just do like one or the other or a couple of those. And then just find the company, go reach out to them, see what they have to offer, and see if you can just get your foot in the door to start learning. That's the most important thing. Or if you really want to, you can always just look up trade schools near you, but I wouldn't even bother with that at your age. I would just start getting real world experience if you can, whether that might be sweeping a garage floor, or just organizing the shop, or going out and just being the grunt or the laborer, helping a service tech do their job, and just learn what you can. And then eventually, if they offer an apprenticeship, and if you want to pursue HVAC or plumbing or electrical, see if they offer like some sort of an apprenticeship program, and then start doing that and start getting like actual on-the-job training. Maybe they do in-class training, I'm not really sure. And then just start taking those steps, those appropriate steps, to get the best learning that you can, education on the job. And then eventually you'll get enough hours to where you can become a journeyman or master of that trade. And then with that experience, you can start your own company, or maybe you quit in a few years and then try out a different company. There's a lot of opportunity. That's just some of the advice for you. Thanks for watching. With Blue Collar EDU, I'm here to expose, teach, educate you about blue collar career opportunities and things that'll help you get started in a skilled trade. Thank you for those questions. And like I said, anyone who wants to submit their questions, best way, email me at austin@bluecollaredu.com, and that's where I will get your questions. And then I'll take those and I'll film a video on CTQ, so that way I can help you and others with questions getting started on a pathway in a skilled trade. And with that being said, I'll catch you on episode 8 of CTQ.